Welcome to another Rugby League Down South podcast. Coming up this week, incoming hooker for 2015, Ray Nasso, talking of his decision to sign up for Broncos championship season. A different take from London Broncos head coach Joey Grima. The winner of the London Challenge Cup, West's Warriors, and the most southern rugby league team in the country in the form of the Cornish Rebels. Thank you as ever for all your interaction during the week. Last week's podcast going down very well. The most popular one of the season so far. Thank you for all your downloads, listens, clicks, whatever it was, scans through the programme. A couple of tweets that I had on the programme, which featured an interview with the London Broncos kitman Steve McGee, as well as various other things. Gotta say, the Rugby League Down South podcast is the best yet from Ian Ramsdale. Very well worth a listen. Diane, thank you for that. Billy saying an excellent interview with Steve and another top podcast. Always enjoy listening to them. Keep up the great work, Billy. Thank you for that. Malcolm saying great show, Ian. And Luke Dawn, yes, Luke Dawn, now at Cass, formerly of London, says outstanding, mate. Good listen. Stephen should be in that Hall of Fame. I'm sure Broncos will be long gone without him. Hashtag McGee. Thank you, like I say, for all your comments. Stephen, Chris, John, Steve. Loads of people sent them in during the week, so thank you for those. I'm glad you enjoyed the programme, and hopefully more just like that on the way in the future. As ever, if you want to send me your comments, you can tweet myself at Ian Ramsdale. Use the hashtag RLDS if you're not on Twitter or you just fancy emailing. I'm going to give you the wrong email there. rldownsouth at gmail.com. rldownsouth at gmail.com is the email address. Let's plough on then with the programme for this week. And first up, it is the one of the new additions for 2015. Broncos, of course, continuing to rebuild a squad for 2015. They've signed Daniel Harrison from Manly. He's the 13th name on the roster for 2015 for that championship season. 21 players leaving at the end of this year from the 30 on the roster. You'll hear Joey Grima refer to that later on in the podcast. Former Bronco Oscar Thomas is re-signed with the club until the end of next season, until the end of 2015. Halfback, most recently playing Union with London Irish. Nigel, in fact, on that news, tweeting myself at Ian Ramsdale saying, good, definitely had something about him coming through the ranks. Paul saying they seem to be rebuilding a more organised manner than ever they did in Super League. And London Faithful on Twitter saying, I think Joey's doing very well with his recruitment. Now, one of the players recently added, one from down under, Ray Nasso, recently been playing in France. Enjoyed his time in England for the Rugby League World Cup, I should say. Across England and Wales, wasn't it? Yes, he enjoyed his time at the Rugby League World Cup in 2013. Now he's back down under at the moment, but I gave him a call to find out why he felt that, coming to the capital was the place for him to be in 2015. So here's one of the new faces we'll see at London Broncos in 2015 in Ray Nasso. Ray, well, you're joining the Broncos for 2015. Just tell us, how did this all come about?
Just after, actually, I was just at the end of the French season. I got a phone call from my manager because he's saying that the London Broncos are after a hooker. Would I be interested? And then I had a chat with Joey, because he used to coach me when I was younger, the younger grades through Para. And then from there, it just the ball started. From there, it happened, and then soon after, it was all done and dusted, and I was coming to London.
What did you make of your conversations with Joey Grima and the things that he told you about what he was doing at the club?
Yeah, Joey explained that they're going to drop down and get relegated in the championship, and he has he wants to implement some good structures in the club to hopefully one day get back up into the Super League, and so he's going to change the club around. It's rebuilding, as he said, so it's exciting times to be part of a club that's hopefully be on the up.
You've spent some years in France. You've obviously had a number of years playing rugby league down under. This will be your first experience of playing in England. Did it matter, or did it have any sort of impact on you, knowing that they wouldn't be in the Super League, that they would be in the division below?
No, not really. It was but the opportunity has arisen that I can come play in England in the championship with London, so I just took it with both arms, and then hopefully we can get back to the Super League.
I guess it gives you the option as well, doesn't it? Many players join London Broncos because it gives them an opportunity to experience the city, to live in London, to have that culture. So I guess that's still an attraction, even though they are in the Championship. Yeah,
it's a massive plus living in London. So we're looking forward to explore the city and all the sites there. So I've been lucky enough to live in France, so it'll be good to experience the United Kingdom in the capital of London.
You'll be one of the most experienced players playing for the Broncos next year with the youngsters. What have you been told about the quality of the young lads that are being produced by the London club?
Yeah, when I spoke to Joey on the beach, he said that there's a lot of young up-and-coming players there, and that I'll be one of the senior players or the older players on the field. So it'll be good to play with the young players, and it's all hopefully an enthusiastic team, and it'll be hopefully a good year next year.
And obviously it's a big thing, moving to England. I know you've obviously been playing in France, but moving over here, what was it in particular that you thought, yes, this is the right thing for me?
Well, I had a great time in the World Cup and playing there. I really liked the UK, and I thought it would be an awesome experience to come play there. And it was a plus that I knew Joey as a coach, and so I was looking forward to the challenge of playing there. So it was just going to be a good fit.
What about the World Cup? I saw a number of games that you played in. You didn't do too badly, really, didn't you? In the end, it was, I guess, a great experience for one, but the team doing well.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. It was a warm-up game, getting a win over England. So we went to the tournament with everyone's confidence up, and then unfortunately we didn't get through, but it was a great experience. We played some good footy. We just unlucky in the end we didn't get through. So losing the one game and then not getting through was a bit tough to handle. So but all in all, it was an awesome experience. I think I'll never forget.
If I'm not mistaken, I think was your final game. I think it was the one that I commentated on. It's the one in Cumbria, Italy again. I'm trying to remember who you played. Well, it was such an amazing game, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, it was such an amazing game. Yeah,
it was. We coming off the draw against Scotland, and then we had to win to get in, and it was a really good atmosphere at Halifax, the stadium there, with all the crowds waving the Tongan and Italian flag. So it was a good game. It was a tough game. It was a bit cold, but that was one probably the hard thing about it. It was really cold, but it was both teams played some good footy, and the Tonga were just too good in the end.
You'll get used to the weather, I'm sure, over time over here.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the game against Scotland that I did, that draw. I mean, again, two fantastic games, wasn't it? You obviously had that final game in the group and not getting through, but that experience of playing in Cumbria against Scotland, I mean, just a phenomenal, the way that game ebbed and flowed from end to end. Yeah,
it was tit for tat there. We would score, they would score, and then in the end, we got to a little lead, and then Benny Bruff would kick them downfield, and they would score. It was actually a really good game to be involved in, and it ended in a draw, which I thought we were unlucky not to win. But there was a few decisions that if they went our way, it would have been a different story.
As I said before, you'll be one of the most experienced players. Is that something you're used to in the teams that you've played? I mean, you'll probably take on, a leadership role as such within that team next year. Of course, you're playing in an influential position as well within the team. But is that something that you're used to? That's something you look forward to?
Oh, yeah, I don't mind the role. It probably makes you play a bit better, because in France you're seen as a senior player playing in Australia, then in the World Cup, so you got a bit more experience than the French boys. So I enjoyed the role, and hopefully I can maybe do the same at London and do it. So it'll be something that I'll have to keep in mind, something that I'll try to do in London next year.
And how important was having some known Joey Grima from previous years down under? He seems to be bringing in a lot of people who he knows, a few people who he's worked with before, and he knows the characters and knows the people. And he's told me that he's trying to recruit a band of men that are the right people for the club. He's saying he's not necessarily chasing the best players, but he's trying to bring in the right people to build the right team. And is that the message that he was sort of getting across to you?
Yeah, because when he spoke to earlier, he wanted people that are going to work hard and play some good football and fit into his game plan. And he's got a few good players there already from last year, like that I've played with before. So Ben Farah, for example, he knows what Joey's coaching is all about. So as a coaching role, probably it makes it easier a lot for him to have a good team spirit, which is really important with those tough games, and hopefully in playing well next season.
And do you know anything of playing in the Championship and the level in this country? Obviously, it's not quite that of Super League, but it's a whole different ball game almost.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I haven't had much exposure to the Championship games. I haven't watched too many games. I used to watch a couple of them this season, but I don't really know too much. I know it's going to be a good level of footy, and I'll just have to take it as it comes, because at the moment I don't know too much.
And what's the plan then for when you head over and when you'll be in London?
So I think we start training in the early November, and then I'll be probably coming mid-October just to get all settled in before pre-season starts. So
Ray Nasso going to be the hooker at London Broncos in 2015. Of course, one of the hookers. Pretty honestly, don't just have one, but he'll be on the roster for 2015 for London Broncos. Good to hear his thoughts, and I wonder how much of a culture shock he'll have playing in the Championship and playing against some of those rough and tumble teams that are traditional and well-known and well-used to playing the rigour of Championship Rugby League. It'll be interesting to see how Broncos adapt to that style of rugby for next year, and quite how they cope. That's all for next year, though. In terms of looking a bit further forward, some nice words from the current captain, Matt Cook, about Broncos as his departure for next season was confirmed. He's going to join Cass for 2015. Scott Moore also leaving at the end of the season. Matt Cook 100% behind Joey Grima, so he tweeted me to say he says he's working his socks off. But Matt Cook been very, very positive about London Broncos, and of course it's not been the season that he would have wanted, not been the season that the club would have wanted, but considering what was happening at the back end of last year, it was not a surprise to that extent, was it? But Matt Cook going to play Super League for 2015, because of course we now know Bradford Bulls will be joining Broncos in the Championship next year. Okay, there's the appeal against the points deduction, but the points deduction make too much difference. If they did get it back, it's going to cost them lots of money. There was the rumour that it may well not go ahead with the appeal, because it would just it may well prove fruitless anyway. Now, after the defeat for Broncos at the weekend, the reporter at BBC London, who also was working for BBC Merseyside at the weekend, Jamie Hill, had a chat with Joey Grima. Always good, I always feel, to give you interviews that other people do with Joe Grima, because obviously I spend a lot of time talking to him. I talk to him every couple of weeks, say hi to him whenever I'm down at the training ground, always give me little snippets of news and telling me that things are progressing well and he's working hard. So it's always good to have someone else ask some questions, come from a different point of view, and you often find that the interviewee is a bit different as well in behaviour with the reporters as well. So interesting chat this. I sat down to listen to it just before as Joey Grima talked to our reporter Jamie Hill, and it's all looking forward to next year and reflecting on the defeat at the weekend. But here is a different style of Joey Grima talking to Jamie Hill here.
Has it been a tough week this week? Obviously, it was confirmed last week, but I guess most people at the club were resigned to the fact that relegation was going to happen. Has it, in a sense, liberated everyone?
Don't know if liberated everyone. I think we knew where we were, and I knew where the club was, and David Hughes, the owner. We've been planning for a number of scenarios, given where we are. We had a plan for that. It's been a difficult week in that we haven't had players available. Tilly Avey, who's our best player, was suspended last week. We've had a few niggling injuries, but we were able to give Oscar Thomas an opportunity to play today. James Woodburn-Hall comes from the 19s, and Joe Keys and those guys. So although we had some issues with player availability, we certainly offered the opportunity to some younger kids, which are the future of our club.
And Oscar, of course, he's been away from the club for a period of time. He's tried his hand at rugby union with London Irish, but it looked today as though he'd never been away.
Yeah, it's funny. He's that type of person. You see him at training. He's a confident person. He's a confident kid. And having not played a game of rugby league for over 12 months, not letting a first grade debut, just shows the respect that I have for him and the skill that he has.
The scoreline obviously wasn't flattering by the end, but you must look at these performances week on week and see enough there, Joey, to realise that within the club at the moment there's a young core building that will take this club places.
Yeah, and that's exactly what David, Jason, our general manager, and I, with our backroom staff, are moving toward. We've got a squad of over 30 players at the moment, and 21 of those players will not be here next year in either signing with Super League clubs or have been told that not required. So for me, that the young kids, the young players are the future of our club.
You say that as well, but recruitment is continuing apace. Now, those of us that have watched the London Broncos for a few years now, and I've watched them for less years than some, but to actually have you say that there are 22 players confirmed for next year, that's almost unheard of with the Broncos in recent years.
It is. We've actually got 17 confirmed, and we've got a target list of up to 22. So we've got about 3 or 4 that we need to target, but we're 17 have confirmed, and some of which have been out there in the media, and there'll be some over the next 3 or 4 weeks that will drip feed to the media and just keep everyone interested.
Exactly. Absolutely. And of course, as you say, there will be a few departures of some players that have been, very, very good for this club. Mason Caton Brown was a case in point a few weeks back. Denny Solomon has signed his contract with Castleford now. When would we expect to hear news on those departures?
There'll be another press release released next week on 2 other players that are going to another Super League club, and I believe that there is one player confirmed that he spoke to me last week that he will be going to a Super League club, but there are a lot of Super League clubs sniffing around, and rightfully so. I would never ever stop anyone from playing Super League, because at the end of the day, although I'm a coach for the London Broncos, the rugby league is my passion, and I would probably do the same if I was in their situation.
Is it a sense of mixed emotions in a way, Joey, because you obviously don't want to stop them playing in the top flight of rugby league here in Europe, but at the same time you could really do with those players in the Championship next year?
Yeah, it is. It's mixed emotions all around. As I said, I'd never stop anyone from playing or bettering themselves. But it's disappointing because the time invested, particularly in the Mason Caton Browns, who last year was playing under 19s, and we threw him a bone. Tony Ray threw him a bone, who's been a junior at our club. And just to go to another club, it's disappointing, but we can understand the circumstances. Given if we were in Super League, I'm sure he'd love to stick around with the London Broncos.
There'll be a lot more said, I'm sure, about the future of the London Broncos in the next few weeks, but to turn back to the more immediate here and now, there's enough about this squad to suggest they'll get one win before the end of the season.
Yeah, look, we keep on saying that. I don't know when it'll come, but it won't be through lack of effort. We'll go back to training on Tuesday, and we'll have a look at the video, and we'll try and work out where we went wrong. There's a lot of good places, there's a lot of good things we can look at this week opposed to last week, and we'll get ready for Hull KR next Saturday here at the Hive.
And just finally, Joey, coming here to the Hive today with the news having been confirmed about the relegation, people were wondering what sort of atmosphere it might be, but there's a real positivity about the place, you sense it. People know where they're going for the future. That's something that's not been happening at the Broncos in recent years. People know about what squads are going to be like, what certainties there are for next year as well, and there were smiles on the faces of the people that you see here. It's an exciting time for the Broncos.
I think certainty gives people confidence, and I think that I produced an 8-point plan to David and Jason, our general manager, about 6 weeks ago, and David's jumped on the back of that and given me full support. And the fact that we've got some new structures and procedures about coaching philosophies and the way that we're going to run from the under-16s right up to the first team is very encouraging. And the fact that we're alerting our fans and the general public about the players we're signing, it just keeps them, because they've got a vested interest in this club as much as I do. And I think that not only is courteousness, but it's just how business should be done, how sport should be done. So they've got every right to know as much as any one of the people working for the Broncos organisation.
Joey Grima, the head coach of London Broncos, talking to the BBC reporter Jamie Hill. Enjoyed that chat. It was good. And it's going to be hard work next year, but the club doing their best and still with a lot of things to sort out for 2015, but trying to put things in place wherever they can. If you haven't seen this as well, if you are a user of social media, you should definitely go and find this out. It was tweeted by Mark Rammond, at Mark Rammond on Twitter. 25 games, 314 days with no win, and yet the sons of London Broncos love our club and beer and do the conga. It's just a video that was shown on Sky Sports News of a few of the fans doing the conga, which made me chuckle this morning. So I retweeted it. If you haven't seen it, you want to scroll back in my timeline to find the video, but I'm sure you can search it out. It's just worth seeing. They show the Broncos still loving their club and beer, as Mark put it. And just while we're on the topic of Broncos, wrote a few words for the match day programme this Saturday. A bit of an insight into media training of sports stars and potentially, the stumbling blocks that sometimes you have to contend with in terms of writing or doing interviews and dealing with people trying to do things for the media for Rugby League and how they can use that in the future. That's in Saturday's match day programme. Of course, like we said, losing the Bulls from Super League this year as well. I said on Twitter that losing Bulls and Broncos is a big blow for Rugby League's profile. The M62 image will continue to hold the sport back. Paul replying on Twitter saying, sadly, it's exactly what some people in the sport want. I'm beginning to fear for Rugby League in the UK. I'd hope that there aren't too many people that want that in this country, but I'm sure it's an opinion that some do hold. I'm sure of that. And Liam saying coverage will be boosted if we get some wins, but also a good run in the Challenge Cup. Yes, absolutely. I think that's a very valid point, Liam. Tweeting at Ian Ramsdale, as you can, any time of the week. Now then, let's hear about a team that played in the London RL Cup final day at the weekend. It was many couple of games being played, but the London Challenge Cup was won by the West Warriors. They received the Gordon Anderton Trophy. It's always a big event for the London Rugby League calendar. So I thought I'd catch up with the main man at the West Warriors to find out, well, I hadn't heard of the team, obviously new, I think, for this season, and all of a sudden winning the London Challenge Cup. So how did they all do it? Here is my chat with West Warriors. Sean Timora, the Vice Chairman of the West Warriors, winners of the London Challenge Cup at the weekend. Not a bad win, I guess, for you?
Yeah, it was a fantastic win, really. Great day, great atmosphere, and we managed to pull through as well, so all in all, very good. Just tell us then, just briefly about the London Challenge Cup. I mean, it's the only sort of division you're playing merit league, entry league games during the season, but you entered the Challenge Cup. How many games have you played in order to get through to this final? So it was 3 games leading up to it, and then the 4th game is the final this year. And you faced a well-known and well-embedded team within London, the South West London Chargers. What sort of game was it like? Well, yeah, I mean, the South West Chargers, since they've merged 2 teams back in 2011 or 2012, they've definitely been the team, on-form team of the year this year. So, yeah, they were very well drilled, very physical side. So, yeah, it was definitely a step up for us from all the other games that we've played so far. And what was the score? How did it end? It was 19-18 in the end. Very, very close. Yeah, very close indeed. Yeah, it was 18-all at half-time. Really? Yeah, we opened with a couple of tries, and then they came back. So it was one of those sort of, one try at one end and then the other try at the other end. 18-all at half-time, and then the second half was just a brutal arm wrestle, really, with neither team able to convert, but we managed to get the drop goal at about 10 minutes to go. So yeah, one of those very, very nerve-wracking games, I guess. Fantastic! Sounds like an epic game, really, and like you say, part of a big day in the London Rugby League calendar as well, with plenty of other games, and it's always a nice atmosphere there, isn't it? Yes, it was. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of games before us, one of which was the the South East Cup final, and the Southampton Spitfires took that one. So huge congratulations to them. That again was a very good game to watch. Very physical and very good atmosphere. The guys travelling from all the way down south to support their team as well. So all in all, we had a good number of spectators, and everyone just enjoying the day really.
And I must
we were lucky to get the weather as well, actually.
Lovely, wasn't it? I was going to say, when I saw the result as well and saw that the West Warriors had won the London Challenge Cup, I thought, the West Warriors, I've not heard too much about them. You're obviously a fairly new team.
Yes, we are. I mean, this is our first official year as West Warriors. We officially formed the club early on this year. But we have been competing, a core group of us have been competing in the London Nines previously. For a different team. We were then called the Tri-Tag Rugby All-Stars, which is slightly a different entity. The guys really enjoyed the Nines. We managed to win it last year, and we kind of realised actually we've got a bit of a potential to go further in this. So that's where it all began, sort of thing.
So was this a matter of just initially you didn't have enough, or you're only looking to recruit a Nines team, whereas then you thought you've got enough players here that you might be able to field a full squad and play some 13-a-side or 17-a-side games? Yeah,
that's the idea. I mean, like last year we almost had too many for the Nines. There is a big interest of rugby in general in that sort of area that we're based in, which is around Acton, West London, and a lot of our players are sort of Australians or New Zealanders, so living in the area, and they actually all most of them play rugby union in the winter as well. So, but a lot of them have played rugby league back home, and they were looking for a team to join over here, and we kind of filled that gap in that area, sort of thing. So, the recruitment has been pretty good, and new guys coming through out of nowhere as well, which really impressed in our side. So we've been pretty lucky in that sense.
And I know as well that a lot of rugby league within the south or within London sort of goes unnoticed as such. But I think that tri-tag rugby level, that Nines level, is something that, even so, it's a great underbelly of the game. There's so many people playing it, participation, I guess, at certain levels that really nobody knows about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right in that, because I mean, the London Nines, certainly last year we had about 20 teams participate all around from London and South East. And I think this year they did the Nines down in Brighton, and they had about 15 teams then. So, there are a decent number of teams around the area, but for one way or the other, I don't know whether people don't recognise it, that there is a team in the area, or it's not advertised as much. And also, obviously, the South being predominantly a rugby union country, it might get sort of lost in the in translation, sort of thing. But it's difficult to get the word out. That's for sure.
It is one of those things, though, isn't it? You talk about, predominantly, obviously, rugby league's the bigger code within the south, but there's so much going on, and people talk about the development of the game and what's happening. I'm just trying to endorse the fact that there's so much that people really don't know about. Even the people that will live in the south and that go to spectate or watch these games, if they're not involved in that participation level, playing the Nines, playing in the Merit League, involved in those games, really, there's no other way of knowing really what's going on.
That's absolutely right. I mean, the management group of the London rugby, the rugby league competition in London is the London Rugby League. Obviously, it's supported and funded by the RFL. And the guys over here, the team over here, do a great job at trying, keep everyone together and keep everyone informed. But I guess that's within the sort of rugby league family within the clubs, and maybe not necessarily in the general public as such. So that's probably a challenge in terms of getting the word out there, really.
Absolutely. In fact, I just thought after I'd said that, I should probably say that I think the work that London RL do is great and is amazing. In no way I was sort of playing down what they do. I think they do a fabulous job. It's just the word just doesn't get out really, because I guess that at the moment there isn't the interest there from the mainstream sports view in order to sort of absorb that information. But like you say, it's well run and well distributed within the clubs and stuff like that. So what next for West Warriors then? Your Challenge Cup winners. I'm sure you might like to try and defend your title next year, but obviously you're playing a few. Have you got a few games left in your sort of your Merit League season?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we've actually got a game scheduled this Saturday, hopefully, against the Eastern Rhinos, their A team. The boys, those boys have come over to us early on in the season, so we're paying the visit to them.
Very nice.
On Saturday. But then we've got the 2nd of August is hopefully the semi-finals for the Entry League, and 9th of August, if we make it, would be the grand final for the Entry League. So yeah, there's 3 more games left to the end of the season.
And the Merit League is great. I love the way that it works. You arrange your fixtures. I think it's worked out as a percentage, isn't it? Sort of a win percentage when it comes towards the end of the season, so you can play as many games as you can or as many games as you want during the season, which I think is wonderful. What about your future, though? I mean, you obviously stepped up from 9s to playing the full version of the game. Yeah. Are you looking to enter any other leagues, or is that the Merit League exactly the level that you want to be at the moment?
No. I mean, this year we knew that because of the first year, we weren't sure how many numbers we'd get in terms of players, and obviously everyone goes away in the summer, so it's, we have had a fluctuation of number of players, but certainly next year, hopefully I have to talk to London Rugby League about this, but we will be looking to be in a regular season competition, perhaps Division 1, or there are talks of us potentially moving to the London Premiers, but we'll have to negotiate that with the London Rugby League guys. But our aim is to go higher, and I would say our dream would be one of the bigger, competitive sides, alongside, like the London Broncos, Scholars, and Hemel Skags, being in that high level competition in the next 5-10 years, sort of thing.
Wow, a long way to go, but you're setting your sights high.
We are aiming very high, but whether or not we make it there, we'll have to see. But we have had huge amounts of support from our supporters, and also the London Rugby League so far. So, we're looking we're hopeful.
Well, you're doing well so far, having beaten South West London Chargers. Not a bad achievement at all for your first year playing the full version of the game. Although I'm sure you've all played that version many times before. But will you be back next year to defend your title then as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully next year we're looking to expand and promote the team a bit more, and hopefully have maybe 2 teams. And there are talks of so we have a friend that plays ladies rugby league as well, so that would be an interesting venue to explore if there's interest there. We'll be back hopefully.
So that is Sean Tamura from the West Warriors, the winners of the London Challenge Cup, receiving the Gordon Anderton Trophy, but also played on Saturday as part of that game, the cup final. There was the Rutlish Raiders under 15s against Southampton under 15s, and Medway Masters against Southampton Masters. At the Shield round robin, Chargers A, Billericay and Beckenham playing. And the South East Cup final was Medway against Southampton. Southampton, I think, were the victors of that one. And the London Cup final, South West London Chargers against the West Warriors. The West Warriors coming top of that one. So congratulations to everyone involved at the Cup finals day for the London RL. It's a good event if you can ever make it along. In fact, I've never been to one actually. Should probably do and get along. I always hear the stories and the success that it is. But maybe we should get her on in the future and bring you a few of these interviews in person with a few of these victorious teams. And finally this week we'll hear from Well, I can't believe I've been in this programme so long without getting on the most southern rugby league club in the country. Cornwall, the country's most southern county, and the Cornish Rebels, then the only team in that county, so they become by default the most southern team in the country. They're top currently of their division, having a great season as well, but off the field as well, they're actually very close to securing a national competition, which could be boosted by your votes. You can help by voting to help them win this national competition. If you've heard of it, it's the Tetley's Pass It On, endorsed by the other sponsors of the Challenge Cup. So an important week for them, on and off the field, as you'll hear. And it's right at the end of the interview where we talk about the votes. So as a listener to this programme, please either bear with it or skip to the end and do what you can to help the Cornish Rebels. I've been chatting with their chairman, John Beach. John, thank you for talking to us. I've covered rugby league across the south for a number of years now, and I think I don't think I've ever spoken to the Cornish Rebels. You don't get much further south, do you? Really, in this country?
No, I think we are the most southern club in the country. I think at the moment, yeah.
And so the Cornish Rebels, how long have you been going?
This is our second season. We formed in February 2013, so this is second season now.
And which division? Is there a Southwest regional division?
Yeah, we're in the Southwest Premier League.
And how's it going this season?
Well, not too bad at all, really. We're top of the league at the moment. We're one game left to play. So, home game against Plymouth on Saturday. First place second. And hopefully a win will take us straight through to the grand final.
So is that how does it work at the end of your season? Do you go into sort of a playoff within your division, or are there other divisions that join in?
First, top of the league goes straight through to the grand final, and second and third playoff to be in the grand final, with the winner being the Southwest champions, and then entered into the Harry Jepson Trophy,
which is the national competition for the Premier teams at that level. You've obviously had a very good season so far. Pretty silly question, but how good are you?
I think that's a little bit hard to judge at the moment. We've had some really big scores this season and last season as well. But being in the Southwest, 95% of the players are rugby union players that play rugby league in the summer.
Yeah.
So we haven't really faced a full-on rugby league side. I think to get through to the Harry Jepson Trophy, obviously, we'll be pitting ourselves against clubs from all over the country, which I think that would be the time to actually tell, how good are we? Yeah, to answer that question, really.
It's obviously a big test, isn't it, when it comes to playing teams like that? You say that this is just your second season. How did it all come about, and how did we end up having a Cornish side playing rugby league in this country?
In 2000, Joe Catchside, who was the Southwest Development Manager, along with a chap called Tom, they organised the first Cornwall versus Devon game. And I think that was to commemorate 100 years of rugby league in Devon. And there was no way to play Cornwall. Unfortunately, that year, not unfortunately, but I was getting married that year, a couple of weeks after the game, so it was a little bit difficult for me to get involved. But the following year, sort of kept my eye on what was going on. And through a Facebook group, I got in contact with Joe Catchside, and me and a couple of other people met up that night. We took on the responsibility of the Cornwall County team for the fixture again, and we played in front of 500 people in Penzance.
Wow!
Which was it was a fantastic evening. Unfortunately, we did get beat, but we put a decent showing in the second half. So the following year we played again in Teignmouth in Devon, and we actually put a side together that went and beat the best of the Devon clubs. So we said we can't leave it there. It's just this one-off fixture once a year. It's not really going to develop rugby league in Cornwall. So we threw our hat into the ring and we joined the Southwest League as the Cornish Rebels.
I always like looking around the websites of the amateur clubs that I talk to, and I love the headlines, particularly this one from a couple of weeks ago from your site. Rebels blow Sharks out of the water at the Rec. It's your big derby, isn't it? I mean, it's the only big derby when you get to any sport in that area, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, any Cornwall, Devon kind of sporting fixture is massive, really. I think it's a little bit like Lancashire and Yorkshire. I mean, you know, there's this sort of friendly hatred of each other, isn't there? And it's no different in the southwest. You know, you've got the Cornish cream tea and the Devon cream tea, and who invented the pasty? Was it Devon or Cornwall? And it's the same when it comes to rugby and any other sport, to be honest. But there is a massive. I mean, Cornwall really is a rugby county. I mean, there's no professional football teams in Cornwall. But it is a rugby county, and you know, the people of Cornwall have taken to rugby league quite well at the moment. We regularly get 200 people watching on a Saturday afternoon, which is great, really.
You mentioned obviously that you know, it's predominantly union players filling their summer up, which for me, I've said it for years on this programme, I think it's a great thing. You know, if it's bringing people into rugby league, however it is, it's good to see it being played more nationally across the country. And you obviously play the Devon Sharks as part of your league, and you obviously get, as you say, quite a few spectators. Do you think the Cornwall against Devon derby is something that should be used to try and grow the sport within the counties? Because I guess that is the one that people want to see. And if you get 500 a couple of years ago, I mean, it just shows that there is, because of that rivalry, an attraction to watch any sport as long as you see the two counties going up against each other.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, really. I mean, we're in the South West League. We are the only team in Cornwall, and all the other clubs are in Devon. So for us, every game is a Devon-Cornwall derby, really. But we tend to try and market it that way. Yeah, definitely through the media, and it is working for us. And I think it might be a little bit different for the clubs in Devon, though. Obviously, because with us being the only Cornish club,
yeah,
I'm not sure it works the other way around as of yet. But you know, I'm sure that over time we can develop this as a league together, and obviously push on and make the league stronger and get more people interested in rugby league here in the southwest. I
guess, you know, let's say there was another team to set up in Cornwall, when you've got the sort of representative honours that come along with it as well, that's maybe when it can start being potentially more of a game, because then you could take players obviously from each of the clubs to form a representative from each county. I suppose that's when it would sort of really have the gravitas, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, last year's county game between Devon and Cornwall, that was the Cornish Rebels against Devon, really, because we had nobody else. Do you know what I mean? All the lads that are playing rugby league in Cornwall all play for the Rebels. So to make that fixture stronger, I do think we need more clubs in Cornwall. And obviously, it is the best of the best then. I think that's definitely the way forward.
Is there definitely potential for that? You know, obviously, union players playing throughout the winter. If there is more of an infrastructure, there would be more that would be willing to play league over the summer.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've had lads interested from all over the county, but Cornwall is quite a big county, and the transport network isn't obviously like it is up in the northwest or in other parts of the country. We've no motorways in Cornwall, so journeys can take quite a while within the county itself. So when you're asking lads to come down on a Wednesday evening after work and they're 40-50 miles away,
that's a long way.
It's not that easy. I mean, we have lads that travel from Wadebridge down to Redruth, which is a good 35-40 miles. St Austell again, 30-odd miles. St Ives, which is 20-odd miles from where we are. So lads are making a lot of effort to come to training and to be part of this club. And I'm sure other lads out there would get involved if that travelling distance was cut down. So, you know, I think there is an opportunity there for other clubs to spring up in Cornwall, yeah.
And are the days of, the rivalry between league and union players not playing league and league players not playing union, are those days gone? Is there still that sort of the standoff within the two codes down in the southwest, or are we over that now?
I think there's a slight undertone in it, but I don't think it actually comes from the players. Players, especially, the ones that come to us see league as a way of improving their own game. It's a fast-paced game, and obviously the players are keeping themselves fitter over the summer. There's no better fitness than being match fit, and I think they're all going back to the union clubs in September, better players because of it. I think one or two of the committees of clubs around Cornwall, around us, within Cornwall, were a little bit sceptical because obviously they didn't want the players playing 12 months a year. But lads do have holidays. Lads are away for some weekends.
Yeah.
There's very few that play every game all season. So, it's keeping them fit. They're getting involved. They're enjoying it. They're becoming better players because of it. And I think that sort of standoffishness, as you said, is fading now. I think it was just sort of an early thing, really, for us.
What about the future then for both the Cornish Rebels and Cornwall itself? I guess maybe potentially more teams in the future would help, but I guess from your point of view, you want to go from strength to strength and a win this weekend, finish top of the table, go into the playoffs and into the national competition, see how far you get.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I think that is really what last year we finished top of the table and we got beat by Devon Sharks in the grand final, which after beating them twice in the league and in the South West Cup final was a little bit devastating. It was really hard to take. But the aim this year was to go on better. We're in a position where we're still able to do that with only one league game left. And I think should we win on Saturday, we get ourselves 2 weeks break, which I think would be quite nice at the present moment.
Sure.
Get a few lads back from injury and give them all a bit of a breather. But yeah, definitely. I think for us as a club, we'd love to see other clubs in Cornwall. Obviously, we'd like to stay as the top club in Cornwall, but we'd love to see other clubs, and obviously, we'd love to see the South West League grow, and we might be able to extend the season a little bit because at the moment, with only 8 league games, it is quite a short season.
And John, I'm told that you're doing quite well in this Challenge Cup sponsored option for amateur teams in the country to get a bit of cash and get a bit of help by people mentioning them on social network. Is that right?
Yeah. The Tetley's Pass It On competition has been running for quite a few months now, and I think we've got 10 days left. The last day for voting is the 31st of July, and we're currently second overall in the country.
Wow.
Which is amazing. I think we're the only southern club in the top 10. I think Thornhill are top at the moment, but I'm hoping if one last surge at the end, we will get them to a VIP day at Wembley.
Okay, so what have we got to do? Because if you're the only southern team that's left that's in the top 10 as such, and doing so well, you're second. If anyone's listening to this now, what do they have to do to get you another vote?
They need to either on Facebook or Twitter just post a status or a tweet with Cornish Rebels #Tetley's Pass It On. So everyone can vote once on Twitter and Facebook each day. So that's, I think, 20 votes left for everybody before the end of the month. And if any listeners out there can do that, that's fantastic.
And so
we really appreciate it.
They use the hashtag Tetley's Pass It On, and then they have to mention you as well. So they have to put your sort of Twitter handle or your Facebook page in as part of the status as well.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
Well, just the wording Cornish Rebels, and they'll accept that.
Okay. So as long as it's Cornish Rebels, and they just got to use the hashtag Tetley's Pass It On. If you haven't seen it on Twitter or Facebook, then go and have a look. But yes, we'll see if we can get you some votes between now and the end of the month.
That's fantastic. I think to be able to take the lads to Wembley, something that we all as rugby league fans take for granted every season, I think that'd be the difference between them loving playing playing the sport and falling in love with the sport as a whole.
If that,
I think a day at Wembley would be the icing on the cake as well for the end of the season.
If that wasn't a reason to vote, I don't know what is. And yes, if you do make it, then we will definitely catch up on that day. So fingers crossed we can get you to Wembley, or help get you to Wembley, I guess, because it wouldn't obviously be down to us. It'd be down to all the other votes you're getting. But people can do it once a day on Facebook and on Twitter, so you can get 2 votes a day. Hashtag Tetley's Pass It On, mentioning the Cornish Rebels. John, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Ian.
So, of course, yes, please do help them out where you can. Web search for hashtag Tetley's Pass It On for any more information. But any social media mentions you can do one on Twitter, one on Facebook every day. Use the hashtag Tetley's Pass It On and mention the Cornish Rebels in what you say. And I will be doing so too. And if you can do that and help them out, that I'm sure will be much appreciated. We'll see if they can win that competition. I don't know how far behind they are, but you'd have thought it might be quite a way, but that doesn't mean that we can't get you a few votes from the Rugby League Down South podcast. So fingers crossed for the Cornish Rebels, and thanks to John for talking to us. And that's it then for Rugby League Down South for this week. Next week, might try and catch up with Coventry, of course, joining Championship 1 for next year. A few more details as well about potentially Championship 1 for 2015. So I might try and chase that and promise you that hopefully for next week. Hope to have your listenership there. Thank you for listening this week.